Today, I want us to talk about squatting and sex toys. As soon as I pressed record to talk about this topic, I had the kids outside shouting, Ruto must go. It's so interesting to see young kids be very interested in politics, whether it's just mimicking what the rest of us are doing or whether they have the information and awareness to understand. I think it's pretty cool. It shows that most people learn from circumstances, from environment, from watching what other people are doing, and from just being around other people. Anyway, back to squatting and sex toys. Most people have questions about what is squatting. Squatting inakwanga mkojo. Or let me just silence my phone. Squatting inakwanga mkojo ama inakwanga nini. So I want to educate us because it's important that we understand more about the anatomy of the our sexual organs, and as women especially, not just especially, I mean as women, everyone needs to learn about their bodies. So I'll start by telling you guys my personal stories as usual. I want to talk about the first time I ever squatted and the last time I squatted as well. And so to show the difference in growth, the difference in awareness, the difference in the kind of education I've had throughout the years. And yeah, so that it's kind of a learning point. The first time I ever squatted, I want to mention it as the first time because this is when I'd say I was aware that this is squatting. And I was able to like actively understand. You know, sometimes you go through things but you don't really know what it is you were going through in that moment, especially when you don't have the information ama the education about it. So this happened when I was 23 years old. I was dating a much older guy than me. He was 10 years older than me. And yes, I've mentioned it here. I already know. I already know about the grooming. But it's important I tell my stories as is so that other people can learn from me and can understand, because I've definitely learned from my mistakes, and with experience, with just growth comes a lot of different phases in your life that where you're able to look back and see, oh, this happened to me like this, maybe I shouldn't have done this like this time I know better, etc. So I was 23 years old, and I think it was on my birthday. I was dating this guy and we had just come from a really really amazing romantic dinner, and we went home. I feel like this sexual relationship taught me a lot about myself sexually, because it was when I think I was like having intentional sex. I can't compare it to when after I turned 25, but at least at 23, I was like, I knew what I was doing. It's me who was actively deciding to have sex much more than it was for maybe the younger girls can get it. Like when you're younger, most times you find yourself having sex because your boyfriend wants it, because you have a boyfriend and that's what you do when you have a boyfriend. But the older you grow and the more assertive you become, you're able to take charge of your sexuality. And if you don't want to have sex, you don't have to have sex. You start to learn, oh, kumbe I don't have to have sex with this guy. So at 23, I feel like I was kind of nearing to that awareness. I didn't know much about squatting. I mean, I think I'd seen it in porn films and stuff, but I didn't know I was a squatter. I didn't know it's something I could do. I thought, I don't know, I thought it was something reserved for some type of women, but I was always open to learning more. And this guy I was dating, of course, he was older than me, which meant he had much more experience in sex. And therefore, he knew a lot more than I ever did, of course. So hiyo siku tumetoka dina vizuri, tumekam home, tulikuwa madrinks kiasi, tumefika, tumechill. Our relationship was a very, very sexual one. I don't even think we were friends, but we really, really used to fuck. Looking back now, I think that guy really hated me, but but we really, really used to smash a lot. And Tukafika home, tukatoa nguo. Hiyo siku akasema he wants to smash me in my heels, nisitoe viatu. So nikatoa nguo zote except jewelry and my heels, and I think I've written an article about this, I'll link it. And he put me on the dresser, and he was fucking me from the back. And it was so good, and it was so intense, and it was so steamy. And I remember feeling so in love with him because in the relationship he was very consistent. He used to treat me really, really well, of course, in the beginning, before anze kunionesha the other side of things. The relationship was pretty good. Like, I was really happy with everything because alikuwa ananitreat poa. We used to spend so much time together, and we used to fuck all the time. Yani, my emotional, physical, mental needs were met. That's what I can say about him. And I don't know what he did differently. I don't know what he did. Siwezi kuambia ni nini alifanya, but I just remember feeling a gush of like water pouring out of my vagina, and it fell on the floor. And it was just like a huge gush. And I thought, oh my God, I've peed on myself. This is so embarrassing. This is so disgusting. I remembered something else. There's a time, oh my God, this TMI, but there's a time I was sucking his dick, and I deep throated so deep. I vomited on him and all over the bed. And I also remember feeling the same embarrassment, the same, my goodness, what am I doing here? But the way he used to handle me, he just had so much more respect. He was, just a gentleman, older. So he used to ease me into things, like explain to me, this is possible, this can happen when you're having this kind of sex. So he never really made me feel shame. But that day when I nilidhani nimejikojolea, and I felt so much shame. I felt so embarrassed, and I actually ran away, and he was asking me, why are you running away? Like, that's called squatting. It's a normal thing. It's something that happens when 1 2 3 1 2 3. And sikukuwa naelewa. Anyway, hiyo ikapita. He made me squat a lot more, many more times after that. until before we broke up. But at least I think that's the one time where I was able to understand, or I was able to experience squatting for the first time and say, this is what it is. At that time when it happened to me, I used to attribute it to like the emotional connection we had and the physical attraction, because I felt like I was so safe with him. It felt like I was in love with him because I had had sex with other guys, but nobody had ever made me squat. The difference between him and other guys was that with him, I actually really, really liked him. Like, I started to feel like he was practically my boyfriend. Ilikuwa situationship, lakini whatever. I felt this was the first time I was dating a mature man, like a grown man who treated me like a woman. Haikukuwa zile relationships za high school ama za uni. Like, this was grown stuff, okay, that's how I used to feel in that point. And I used to feel like it's because I felt safe around him. I felt very protected, very provided for. So even nutting, even having orgasms was so easy for me. And I guess that's where love and orgasms kind of started peaking, because I started learning more about my sexuality and my body and how my body reacts to sex. I remember the emotional feeling that squatting used to leave me with. It was like a gush of euphoria. It's just this excitement that lingers, and I just used to stay happy for a while. Lakini, of course, when you're younger, I didn't really have the words like to put it out there. And a feeling I can liken to this is, if you have sex toys. The first sex toy I ever got was a rabbit. I have one. He's called Mr. Purple. And the first time I used it, I've talked about this on the masturbation episode. The first time I used it, I was so hooked. I was so addicted for a while because of because of the dopamine hit it used to give me, and the sense of release. It was just a nut no man had ever given me. Hata mimi mwenyewe nikinut sikukuwa najipea hiyo feeling na sikuwa na understand. And I just recently got the rose. The rose is so, oh my God. I've used it just twice. I used it twice and then my period came. I got it last week. I used it twice, then my period came. So I haven't used it again. I'm waiting till I'm clear, clear, clear. So maybe I'll try it again tomorrow. It's been a week. So maybe I'll try it tomorrow, but it's the same feeling. It's like the high is really, really high. It's like a drug. It's like it hits you and then it lets you sit in that feeling for a while of excitement and happiness, and it's just a rush of dopamine and adrenaline. The last time I squatted, this was the last time I had sex. uh it's a long time ago, and I think I was in my mind, I've been telling myself I'm trying to be very emotionally available, and because I want to attract people who are equally emotionally available for me. I don't want those guys for, oh, they katia you and then all of a sudden, I'm not sure it will work after shakudinya. Like, mi sitaki hizo vitu, nimetoka huko nataka tu have sex fulfilling na satisfying na mse mwenye ako madly in love with me, because I feel like that gives me a lot more satisfaction in my sex life. So the this guy, I had sex with him because I had started to trust him. It's someone I've known for a long time, and I wasn't really sure going into it. Even that day we had sex, it wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, according from my end of things, it was I wasn't supposed to sleep with him, but of course one thing led to another, and sitaki kuact ni kama siko in charge ama sina self discipline when it comes to sex, but with him I just feel like it was the right time, it was the right mood. He had set the mood. He's someone who's also been very consistent in my life. I really, really like him a lot. I admire him, I respect him. I think I can say I no, let me not use that word, but I really, really, really care for him. So we had fucked. We started fucking at 10 p.m. and we fucked and we fucked and we fucked, and it was 2 a.m. and we were still fucking. So when we were winding up, I don't know if I had been holding back because you know me, natakanga ku have two sex ale niko sure, and I was already in a spot where he wasn't really my boyfriend, and I had told myself I'm not having sex with someone who I'm not in a relationship with. So I guess I wasn't in it fully. I was like 70-30, but then I was already here. We've already fucked the whole night, and he was talking me through it, and I think he could feel my body, like, not, I don't know how to explain it really. It's like I wasn't nutting because I was holding back, and he was talking me through it, and he kept saying, just let go, like, don't hold back. And immediately he said that, I just the floodgates opened and I squatted all over that bed. Oh my God. Immediately I squatted. I caught feelings. I fell in love. I just started feeling like I was warm and fuzzy inside. And already I did like him before I went into the sex. But then that release, it just started making me feel like I can trust him, like he can lead me, like he can give me reassurance, and it's safe to trust him. It also gave me a huge sense of confidence. I felt like I felt like he loved me, whether these feelings were real or not. Me, this is what I felt. I just felt very secure and very, very safe in his space, in his arms. And so for me, it's beyond sex, and it's beyond nothing. Like, it's beyond the physical. It's also just the internal feeling that ejaculating or orgasming like that leaves me with. It made me feel like I was bonded to him. And I guess also with being older now and knowing more, knowing better, having more awareness, I'm able to name my emotions. And I'm also able to know that not anyone can get this kind of reaction from my body. Just like, not just anyone can make me squat. I have, like, of course I can tell from my sexual history. So I can say there's a lot of, for me, there's a lot of emotion that plays a part. There's a lot of security that I need. There's a lot of emotional, physical, just basically feeling safe and like I can trust someone. So these are my experiences. Now, let me teach you guys a bit more about squatting and the science behind it and how it happens. Squatting is the emission of fluid from the urethra during an orgasm. And it happens in some women. It doesn't happen for some women. Si kitu kila mtu hu experience ama si kitu lazima u experience ndo enjoy sex or so that you feel satisfied. It's not dependent on your satisfaction. It's just a consequence of sexual stimulation. Some people get it, some people don't. And kuna these glands that are called the Skin's glands that are around your urethra. Urethra ni ile pipe ya mkojo. It's the pipe through which it comes from your bladder all the way out to your vagina. It's the pipe through which pee passes. You can call it the pee pipe. And what the Skin's glands would be equivalent to in men is the prostate. Hiyo tutaongea kwa episode ingine when we're talking about the G spot and why men come when their prostate is activated. Why they not like that? We'll talk about the G spot later. Today, let's focus on the girls. So, when you're having sex, when you're having arousal or like sexual stimulation, the skin's glands fill up with some fluid, and then when you're nutting, your pelvic muscles start to contract. Na hii liquid yenye inajaa kwa skin's glands, it's normally colorless, it's clear, it can come out as dripping in a gush. Sometimes it's a bit dilute with urine, but it's not completely urine. So, ejaculation and squatting is very, very different. So, we're talking about squat, this colorless, clear gush. Ejaculation, we'll talk about it in a bit. Let me first explain to you guys exactly what squatting is so you can understand kabsa, kabsa, kabsa. So, squatting is different because it's colorless, it's clear, it's mostly odorless, or like it smells like you, like your natural smell. And after it comes out, there's research has been done, and I was getting my research from Dr. Rena Malik, who talks a lot about urology, sex education, and things to do with the sexual organs and stuff like that. This is where I've learned all these things from. Squatting is different, and although ejaculation pia inatoka kwa skin's glands, ejaculation difference yake is that it's milkish white. It's your nut, ile kitu wanaitanga nut, tuseme kama sperm kwa men. That would be what would be the equivalent if you compare to men. So squatting is different. There was a research done where different women who say they are ejaculators and also say they're squatters were asked about how they felt, and some of them talked about feelings of excitement like amazement, pride, awakening, elevated confidence, feeling special and loved. This is after they squatted, like feeling like you're special, like you feel good, it makes you feel good. And then some women said that they don't even notice when it happens. How they know they squatted is afterwards when you see the sheets ziko wet, they're all wet. And sometimes they can confuse it for peeing on themselves because I guess that feelings comes, when you're fucking and you start saying, I want to pee, I want to pee. I guess that's the same kind of feeling it gives you. So sometimes you can think you want to pee, but it's just the skin's glands zimejaa na zinataka kubust open. And some women also said they felt some embarrassment for wetting the space they were at. And most of this shame, and guilt normally comes from like culture, society, religion, just different ways of life, how you were brought up, how you feel. Because some people, while they feel a lot of pride when they squat, some people feel shame. And all these feelings are valid. I guess the difference is just where we are able to talk about it and learn more so that we can know this is okay, this is not okay, this is normal, this is not normal. But squatting is very, very normal. Whether you squat or whether you don't, it's very normal. Kumbuka nimesema your ability to squat or ejaculate is not directly proportional to you enjoying sex to like your sexual satisfaction. There's some people who enjoy sex just from clitoral stimulation, like clit yako tu kukua activated, na kuna watu wengine wanabambika na penetration, kuna watu wengine wanabambika na foreplay, kuna watu wengine arousal yao hata ni kusoma ama kusikiza music. Like people are very different. You being able to squirt or not is not dependent on like if you're able to enjoy sex or not. There's so many different ways to be able to enjoy sex that doesn't even involve squatting. So don't worry. Don't think you're not normal if you don't squat. Some people squat, some people don't, and that's just okay. Most of the ways we learn sex is from porn and like mainstream media. And sometimes when you see these things, you're not able to tell what's really normal or what's weird. So that's why it's good to take the extra step, like to go and learn more for yourself about your sex life, your sexuality. Just get to learn more about even these words. Una understand urethra ni nini, bladder ni nini, skin's glands ni nini, ejaculation inamaanisha nini. It helps a lot. I want to talk about different fluids that come from the vagina so that you're just able to be more equipped. And this is during sex, during sexual stimulation, not my discharge, just during sexual stimulation. And the first one is vaginal lubrication. This starts coming out depending on the intensity or hormones or whatever. Remember, women's bodies are very different. There's people who get wet, like WAP. And there's people who don't get that wet. And there's people who are dry. And there's people who are not too wet. There's people who are like, it depends. Sometimes you can start off really wet, but because you've been fucking for so long, like so many hours, you start to get dry. It's pretty normal. The only thing that should raise alarm is if maybe you're completely unable to get wet. This is something you definitely should check in with your doctor. Ask, find out, do your own research, find out what could be the issue. Sometimes it's psychological, sometimes you just don't feel safe enough. Sometimes it's an emotional issue, sometimes it's your hormones, sometimes you're just stressed. There's so many things. It could be the medicine you're on, the medicine you're taking. So it's just about finding out what your body is like and knowing what you really enjoy so that you're able to tell. And one of the ways I've been able to learn more about my body is through playing with myself, like giving myself sexual stimulation, and that's by the use of toys. So toys, I wouldn't necessarily recommend go get a toy, do this, because everyone is different. But speaking for myself, having sex toys has been very complementary to my sex life. It's not a competition with men, it's not a replacement with men. Sometimes my sexual partners have used my sex toys on me, which is something I really enjoy. But it's something you just have to use in moderation. The same way I talk about masturbation, the same way I talk about anything that you do, anything that you consume, whether it's good for you or not, you have to have moderation. You have to understand it can always go downhill pretty fast, like the rose. The rose is, oh my goodness, it's good. It's worth the hype. It's completely worth the hype. Actually, after this, I think I'm going to use it. Because huku kuna baridi na sina heater. So lazima nijipe joto. It's nice. Like it's nice, but you have to make sure you don't overuse. After using the rose, the feeling I got from it is like it's so fucking good. It's actually too good. But if you're not careful and if you overuse, I think you could overstimulate yourself. Your clit could become numb if you do it too much. Me, that's the feeling I got. After using it, I told myself this is not something I can do every day. I can only do it maybe once a week or twice. But if I do it too much, I could easily get addicted. But yes, if you've been thinking about buying the rose, totally get it. It's worth the hype. I can totally vouch for the rabbit and the rose toy. Getting to know my body through using toys. Do ukitumia, nikitumia rose, bila hata penetration. The rose has no penetration, but immediately after stimulating my clitoris, I was getting so wet. Like this is the vaginal lubrication. The lubrication is inatoka kwa mwili yako in preparation for sexual intercourse, mostly penetration. That's how it helps you, so that there's no friction when you're having sex. Your body knows to do this through your vulva. The other fluid is female ejaculation. So female ejaculation also comes from the skin's glands, but it's not the same as squirt because it has color. Squirt is colorless. Female ejaculation is a bit milky white, like it has a sometimes it could have an odor, sometimes, you know, and it's a very, very small amount. Some women don't even know that they ejaculate. This comes out when you're actually nutting, when you're nutting, like nutting for real. And kumbuka, it is in no way attached to your sexual satisfaction. Sexual satisfaction is completely dependent on the things you enjoy putting your body through during sexual stimulation, how you enjoy and how you like to feel when you're having sex. I hope I've been able to explain the difference between squirt and other fluids. Squirt si mkojo lakini iko na components za mkojo. Inapitia the same place as mkojo, but it's not susu. It's not you peeing on yourself. So you don't have to feel embarrassed about it. You don't have to feel weird about it. So maybe you can share with me about what you feel about squatting. Is it something that has ever happened to you? Is it something you're scared about? Is it something you're scared to experience? How did you feel? Is it something you want to learn to do? Maybe you've never done it. Tell me what you think. So those are my stories about squatting, and I hope you've learned a bit more. Thank you for listening.